The sinking of the RMS Titanic on April 15, 1912, remains one of history's most devastating maritime disasters, claiming over 1,500 lives. But the tragedy didn't end when the ship slipped beneath the waves. It continued in the days that followed, as recovery crews faced the grim task of retrieving the victims from the icy Atlantic. On April 23, 1912, the CS Mackay-Bennett, a cable-laying ship turned recovery vessel, reached the disaster site and began the heartbreaking work of collecting the dead. That day marked one of the most intense phases of the operation, as the crew pulled 128 bodies from the water, each one a silent witness to the scale of the catastrophe. The Mackay-Bennett had been hastily dispatched from Halifax, Nova Scotia, carrying embalming supplies, coffins, and a team led by Undertaker John Snow. But nothing could prepare them for what they encountered: a vast field of floating victims, many frozen in the frigid ocean, their faces forever marked by the terror of their final moments. The crew worked tirelessly, hauling bodies aboard with booms and nets, their hearts heavy with sorrow. Yet, they soon realized they were woefully unprepared. The ship had embalming fluid for only 70 bodies, a fraction of what was needed. Faced with this impossible dilemma, they made agonizing decisions. First-class passengers were embalmed and placed in coffins, while others were buried at sea after brief, solemn ceremonies. The ship's log recorded these burials with heartbreaking simplicity. Number 53, male, estimated age 25, dark hair, no identification, buried at sea. Among the recovered were some of the Titanic's most famous passengers, including John Jacob Astor IV, one of the wealthiest men in the world, whose body was identified by the initials sewn into his jacket. His young wife, Madeline, had survived, but Astor's death symbolized the indiscriminate nature of the disaster. Money and status meant nothing in the face of the unforgiving ocean. As the Mackay-Bennett continued its grim mission, it encountered the Sardinian, another recovery ship, and arranged for additional embalming supplies. But even with these efforts, the sheer number of victims overwhelmed the crew. Many bodies were too decomposed or damaged to identify, leaving families forever wondering about the fate of their loved ones. Undertaker John Snow worked methodically, cataloging personal effects, watches, letters, jewelry, anything that might help put a name to the lost. Some victims were identified quickly, while others remained unknown for decades, their stories buried with them. By April 30th, when the Mackay-Bennett finally returned to Halifax, the city had already begun to grapple with the enormity of the tragedy. Crowds gathered at the docks, some hoping for news of missing relatives, others simply there to bear witness. The sight of the ship, its decks lined with coffins, was a stark reminder of the human cost of the Titanic's doomed voyage. The recovery effort didn't end with the Mackay-Bennett. Other ships continued searching, but none matched the scale of that first, harrowing mission. In total, 328 bodies were recovered, while more than 1,000 were never found, lost forever to the Atlantic. The Titanic's sinking had already shocked the world, but the recovery operation revealed the true horror of the disaster in ways that headlines could not. Each body pulled from the water was a life cut short, a family shattered, a story left unfinished. Today, the Mackay-Bennett's mission stands as one of the most sorrowful chapters in Titanic's saga, a testament to the courage of those who faced death's aftermath with dignity and respect. The ship's crew, undertakers, and volunteers performed a service that went beyond duty. They gave the lost what little peace they could, ensuring they would not be forgotten. Over a century later, the echoes of that April day still linger, a haunting reminder of the sea's merciless power and the enduring legacy of the Titanic tragedy.